Hi, welcome and thank you for listening to the Veerle Adventure Podcast. My name is Veerle and I'm taking you with me on a journey. In this podcast, I will give you a glimpse into my location-independent free life. I will tell you about the challenges of online entrepreneurship as a nomad, about finding the right mindset to grow, and how you can experience real freedom in your own non-nomadic life. My name is Veerle and welcome to Veerle Adventure. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Veerle Adventure Podcast. I still have to get used to the routine of recording it in English. It's a little bit out of my comfort zone still, but I know I have to do it. And the funny thing is that I realize that I'm talking way slower than I used to do on the Dutch podcast. I'm still not sure what I think of that. The funny thing is that I always love listening to the fast podcast. And I still really have to get used to the fact that I'm talking slower to capture my words more, to get everything in order in my head. But yeah, not sure what to think of it. But I do have this podcast voice in English that I don't have in Dutch. So I'm still a bit, I don't know, skeptical about it. But probably when I'm doing this more often, I will get used to it and it's not a problem anymore. But yeah, it's holding me back a little bit, and I know it, but by stating it, it's out there, so you guys know it as well, and it's all fine. But that's not what I wanted to record a podcast about. I want to record a podcast today about this feeling that you can have when you've pushed yourself to grow for a while, and when you've reached all those goals, and you're at a standstill. You just don't know what to do. You feel a bit misaligned. And we live in a world where we are always thriving for more. We're just not used to accomplishing something and then actually enjoy it. We're in this rat race of always achieving goals. And if you don't have a goal, the world doesn't feel good. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm at that point right now. I have pushed myself to grow first to start my podcast interviews in Dutch, and then I decided to change my whole business into English, and then I changed my podcast into English, and now everything is as it is right now. And now I don't have a big goal. I just have to do it all, and I have to readjust a little bit, get used to my new normal. And I know it has been some time of working outside my comfort zone, and like I said, I have to get used to the new normal of just recording podcast interviews in English, recording podcasts in English without the interview, actually. And I can just enjoy this for a while. I don't have to reinvent myself the whole time. It is fine to just be for a while. And I don't have to focus on growth all the time. Even though I love growing and I love challenging myself, it is fine to just enjoy where I am. And it feels so uncomfortable sometimes to just stand still in my comfort zone where others might struggle with leaving their comfort zone. For me, it feels so normal to go out of my comfort zone and just do new stuff. And I guess that's a good thing for me, but it makes me a bit anxious as well because by pushing myself all the time, when is it ever enough? I'm asking so much of myself by constantly reinventing myself and doing all those new things, and there's never time to just enjoy. Because I record this podcast in April and I started thinking about growing my business in English in January, and ever since, I've been focusing on that. I've been working on the podcast to grow it in Dutch, later in English, and now I'm doing it, but I have to figure out how to do it because now I do have my English podcast, but I'm not recording episodes regularly. And I knew I had to stop that the pressure of recording every week that was holding me back in Dutch as well. So I didn't want that anymore. But now I'm not recording, and that's not what I want. So I have to figure out what my new routine is. And I guess lots of people have this at some point, that we just always keep pushing ourselves and not enjoying the results. We are allowed to celebrate when we achieve something. And it reminds me of the time that I got my degree as a art therapist. I've been working towards that for 6 years, and it has been a real struggle. At multiple times I thought I wasn't gonna get my degree, that I was just gonna quit and work and never have a degree, but I kept pushing myself, and in the end I did it, even though I knew halfway through my education that I didn't want to pursue it. But when I finally got it, it was like, and now what? Because during my studies I always had to get pass that exam or get an internship, and there was always something to work towards. And after my degree I was like, crap, what now? And that's the same thing that I'm going through right now, even though I had smaller achievements, even though I don't think that rebuilding your whole business in English is a small thing. I know that's a big thing. But yeah, I think my problem at this moment is that I don't have a proper goal. And I just had this massive goal of my whole business translating it to English, and then record the new podcasts, edit new podcasts, build a new website for it, and all those bits. And I all did that within a time span of, I think, 3 weeks. And lots of it I did in that 1 week that I was participating in the Hell Week. So I had this massive to do list, and I was motivated as hell. And when I finished the Hell Week, my to do list was almost done. And the things that there were still on it weren't that important anyway, so I skipped those. But I couldn't make a new to do list. And that's why I'm just not doing anything right now. And I I have to admit that I scheduled in some downtime. I had a couple of vacation days that I scheduled in my calendar back in January, and I kind of forgot about it. But the reason why I feel so, I don't know how to describe it. It's not at ease at all. I'm a bit nervous, a bit, yeah, out of line. I don't know where to go to, what to do, and it feels so boring, so dull to just record a podcast, upload a IGTV, be active in my stories, coach some people. I need something new. So I have to schedule in some CEO time to figure out where I want to go with my business. But at the same time, I know when I'm gonna pursue another big goal, I'm just gonna do that, and I'm not gonna relax. Even though I know my life is pretty calm as it is, I don't do big things. I just get up in the morning early, 5 a.m., and then I work a little bit. I coach someone, or I record something, go for a walk, read a book, eat, sleep, repeat. So it's a pretty solitary life that I'm living right now, and I do enjoy that because I'm with my family, and I really love that. But it's not the life that I'm used to living. Normally, I'm always doing something. I'm traveling to a new country, I'm building a new website, I'm thinking of a new strategy for my Pinterest, and I just have all these plans all the time, and now I'm at a standstill, and I'm not sure what is the right course. What is the next thing to do? And I think it's something Tony Robbins always talks about. It's about the seasons of your life. And for a long time, we have been in a winter. I think the pandemic is the winter of the world, that we're all just in a standstill, and we're getting ready to get to spring and fully enjoy yourselves and getting ready for summer even better, and then the fall is back to yeah, get to yourself a little bit, cocoon, and then winter is definitely cocooning. So when I'm looking at my life at this point, I've been in a winter for a long time, and I'm in spring right now. And maybe I went too quickly through spring and summer and I'm back in fall. I don't know. But it's the awareness of which seasons you're going through. I'm not 100% sure where I am at this point, but I know that in winter I always cocoon and get back to myself. I'm not social at all in winter, and when I'm looking at the last year and a half, I haven't been social. And in the last month, I've seen some friends that I haven't seen in years, in 1.5 years. Multiple people I didn't see for a long time. So I'm getting back to that social phase. So that's what I'm thinking. Why I am in winter and in spring, and I have been having a lots of new plans, and I've been trying and then adjusting everything. But I'm not yet at the phase where the seeds that I've planted, I'm not s- reaping them yet. I'm still growing them, and I'm not sure if I'm nurturing them yet. So I think that's where I'm gonna where I can focus on next. And I really love that metaphor of life and the seasons, especially with the gardening, where you have to plant a seed, prepare the soil, plant the seed, let it grow, nurture it, and then you have a plant. And at the end of the season, you have to cut the plant, you have to remove everything and start over again. And I really have to talk to my mom if this is the right metaphor. I'm not sure which plant I'm growing, but if I'm looking at growing veggies, it's usually like this. But yeah, I think I've been planting a lot and preparing a lot, but I haven't really seized it. There's still so much more to get from all this. So that's my realization, I guess, that I'm not there yet, and I am allowed to enjoy this bit for a while. I don't have to push myself again. And that's just the time frame that we're living in. Our generation is crazy with all the expectations, and we're constantly asking so much of ourselves. And I think my whole life I've been fighting that. I didn't like the school system that we have. I didn't like the 9 to 5, and I've always did my own thing. In high school, I got sick. I couldn't participate the 9 to 5, even though it was 8 till 3. I couldn't. I was just tired all the time, and I always skipped the first class and arrived around 10, so probably second or third class, and then because I missed those hours, I had to do them at another time. So what I did is I started at 10, and then when everything was finished around 2 or 3, I stayed in longer and I did the hours that I had to do in the mornings. So I did the same hours but on a different time frame. And that's just it makes so much sense to me that I had to figure out my own way to do it, and I'm always beating the system and finding my own way. And I did that when I was 15, 16. So yeah, it's been something that's been part of me for all my life, that I'm just doing whatever I want to at my own pace. And the funny thing is, when I was in um, when I was 9 in school, we had to start English, and I didn't really like it. It was a bit too difficult for me, and I postponed it the whole time. I was in this school system where you could schedule your own classes. You didn't have to listen to the teacher tell everything. It's called Montessori onderwijs. I'm not sure what it is in English, so probably Montessori, but because it's a name, but I don't know. Um, but yeah, I was able to schedule my own pace of everything but I had to finish it at the end of the year. And my teacher didn't notice that I was postponing that all the time. And one at the end, it was close to the end of the year. I guess it was in May. My teacher got sick, and we had a substitute teacher, but that happened to be a friend of my mom. So she knew me, and she checked my progress and everything, and she was like, "Ooh, Veerle, your English is not getting well. You have to do it the whole week, all day, every day." So the system beat me, but I managed. I succeeded. After that week, I was at the right pace again, and everything was fine. And I'm talking English right now, so I guess I fixed everything. But yeah, it was a weird thing to be called out on it. But it's such a great example of how I, even when I was 9 or 10, I don't know how old I was. I think it was sixth grade, so I was 10. But yeah, it's such a great example of me doing my own thing at an early age. I love it. And I have multiple of these kind of stories. So it's really that working on your own energy, that what I'm doing right now with my coaches, that is such an important part of my life, and it always has been. It has to do with my chronic fatigue syndrome that I don't believe I have, even though it's chronic. So I don't believe I have it anymore, I have to say. But I think it was a misdiagnosis. For me, it always felt like they didn't know, they couldn't explain everything that I was going through, and especially the fatigue. I was too tired to walk, and they just thought, all right, this is a label that we can give her, and then she knows that she has something and she can get over it, or she can get treatment for it. Well, the treatment never really happened, and I fixed it on my own, but I think for me, it was just that I was living life on other people's terms instead of my own. And how I fixed it was I took a year off everything. I quit school. I quit the Girl Scouts. I quit work. I don't think I was working at that time, but I stayed in bed for months. It was winter, of course, but yeah, I quit school, and then I just started living slowly again because my it started all in October, and I guess around April I started going to a concert or going to friends, family, stuff like that. So it was a good 6 months that I felt like I couldn't do anything. I just watched TV and I don't know, write in my journal. It wasn't pretty, but I got there and I slowly rebuilt my energy and I started school again in September. But it was still a lot, the pressure of classes and exams. But because of the diagnose, I could do everything on my own terms. So I didn't do my internship in the first year. I did that in the second year, and I changed my whole curriculum at my own pace. So that's why I studied for 6.5 years instead of 4. But yeah, it's just such a big part of me that I always want to do everything my way, and that I guess more people should be able to live on their own terms. And it's such a hard thing. And it completely makes sense to me that I'm living the nomad life and I'm doing whatever I want. I have my own business, so I don't really have to listen to anyone. So, yeah, that's where it all comes from. Yeah. Not sure why why I told all that, because it wasn't I didn't think it was a part of this story, but it does make sense because I was talking about standing still, and I have stood still for a long time in my life because I was misaligned. So it all comes back to the standing still and the misalignment. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna check in with myself, and I'm gonna make sure that I do this standing still and enjoying everything that I'm doing and feeling the achievements, because I don't think it dropped yet what I've achieved in the last couple of months, because I've done a lot, really a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna process it all, and I'm not gonna do anything new for the for a couple of weeks, probably, knowing me, but I'm not gonna pressure myself into doing anything that I don't want to, and I'm not gonna pressure myself into standing still too long. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird episode. All right, I'm gonna call it quits on this episode because I have a coaching call in 30 minutes, and I can't wait to get back in a good coaching energy. All right, so I talk to you soon. I'm not sure when, so we'll see. And let me know what you thought of this episode. Bye. Thank you for getting along on my journey and listening to another episode of Fearless Adventure. Would you like more information on the topic of this episode? Then take a look at the show notes on fearlessadventure.nl. Give your opinion or want to screenshot this episode on Instagram, you can find me and tag me on Instagram at Veerlez. That is Veerlez. Fearless. Can't wait to hear from you and see you next time.